Even though St. Valentine's Day has some shady and dark origins, it's widely thought of as a celebration of love. But what happens when love goes too far? For the victims of these Valentine's Day killers, the answer was murder. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Number 5. DeMarcus Little. Anitra Gunn, a senior at Fort Valley State University, went missing on Valentine's Day of 2020. Gunn's body was found 4 days later in a wooded area. An autopsy revealed her death was ruled a homicide. Gunn's boyfriend, DeMarcus Little, was a prime suspect. The police arrested him on vandalism charges that stemmed from a February 5 report Gunn had made. DeMarcus Little was later charged with malice murder for her strangulation. Number 4. Nathan Leuthold. Nathan Leuthold, a former missionary and resident of Illinois, was sentenced to 80 years in prison for the murder of his wife, Denise. According to prosecutors, Leuthold schemed a plan to cover up his wife's murder by making the scene look like a burglary gone wrong. However, due to a too neat crime scene and odd behavior, Leuthold was quickly the prime suspect in the February 14, 2013 murder. Prosecutors alleged that Leuthold had planned to kill his wife to be with his mistress, 21-year-old Anna Dobalite. He claimed that previous internet searches, such as how to silence a .40 caliber Glock, proved the murder was premeditated. Both Leuthold and Dobalite have denied any romantic connection. Number 3. Stacy Shoke. On February 14, 2010, Richard Shoke drove to the park to meet his wife and exchange Valentine's Day gifts. When his wife, Stacy, arrived at the park, she found Richard shot to death outside of his truck. What seemed to be a random act of violence was proven to be a murder-for-hire plot only 3 short months later. Stacy Shoke had paid personal trainer Reginald Coleman $10,000 to murder her husband. Coleman and Shoke have received life sentences for the murder. Lenitra Ross, a co-worker of Stacy Shoke, who introduced Shoke to Coleman, also received a life sentence for her role in the murder. Number 2. Anthony Williams and Kareem Brock. On February 14, 1996, Anthony Williams and Kareem Brock disguised themselves in women's clothing and entered a 7-Eleven to rob the store. Sarah Keenajad, a 19-year-old woman, was sitting in the store, waiting for her husband. She was shot and later died at the University Medical Center. Keenajad was 6 months pregnant at the time. The murder of Keenajad went unsolved until July 23, 2020. Both men have now been formally charged with Keenajad's murder as well as manslaughter for the killing of her unborn child. Number 1. Glenn McCurley. In 1974, Carla Walker, a high school senior, was taken from her boyfriend's car after a Valentine's Day dance. Her boyfriend was hit in the head and knocked unconscious while Carla was abducted. Her body was found in a ditch 3 days later. While the authorities had named persons of interest, no charges ever were made in Walker's murder, and the case went cold. In 2020, authorities were able to breathe life into the cold case. With new technology, investigators were able to build a full DNA profile of the suspect. This new evidence allowed investigators to match DNA to one of their previous persons of interest, Glenn McCurley. Now 77, McCurley was officially charged with the capital murder of Carla Walker. During his trial, McCurley changed his not guilty plea to guilty. He was sentenced to life in prison. Thanks for watching. If you liked the 5, make sure to subscribe to the channel.